industrialization, about logistics, manufacturing, and mining, which seems to be bothering a lot of people. But you can only blame one person for mining. So seriously, I head the ASEAN Advisory Council. I work as an advisor to the President on entrepreneurship, which basically focuses on micro and small enterprise. To me, that is the game changer. We're trying to look for employment, increase employment. The best way to do it is to help our micro and small entrepreneurs scale up beyond just a survival level to more a sustainable level, and eventually maybe some of them can go for growth. Last Wednesday we had one of the most successful ASEAN Business Awards ever done. I'm proud to say that we did well. Our economic ministers, our ambassadors, the cabinet and the president was in awe at the way it was done. And I think what we really set that evening was a mark that Philippines is not a pushover. We really can excel in many areas. And I felt that in my role as helping the President in his mission to helping them, to many of the marginalized Filipinos across our country, which basically propelled him to this presidency, the private sector has to be the driver and government has to create the right environment. Infrastructure, logistics, and mining are just parts of the different components that we play in this field. Over the past 3 months, I've engaged with government secretaries, the large conglomerates, in fact, a meeting we had last week, was to really try to bridge the gap, the strategies, the vision of how the private sector thinks and how government is moving forward. I believe if we work together as a team with the different secretaries, focused on certain areas, then we will achieve a common objective of helping everybody achieve prosperity. Not just prosperity for us in this room, but prosperity for everyone. And that is the tone that the President will listen to. He doesn't like to hear prosperity just for us. He feels that over the past so many years, prosperity was just for the few, the 0.4% of the large economy, which in a way has not been as inclusive. And he wants to see an inclusive economy helping more people. And the platform that I proposed is eventually, as the ASEAN winds down, is to create a Prosperity Council. A Prosperity for All Council that is being drafted and hopefully will be approved by the President as an executive order that will really bring about the private sector and the public sector, all agencies focused on helping micro and small entrepreneurs, outlining the spending that they have and focusing it on 3 areas which I believe will propel this country to a much greater country. These 3 areas are the 3 M's: mentorship, money, and market. Mentorship, as you all know, and I've explained in some of the many engagements we've had, is a very powerful tool. Many of you here have studied in good schools, so you need less of that. But many of our micro and small don't have that. So we've partnered with the Department of Trade, Department of Agriculture, now TESDA, to mount a massive mentorship program that is basically hand-holding many of our micro and small entrepreneurs to scale up, to understand how to run their business. We have advisors. We have the liberty to hire advisors. And I'm glad that the ASEAN Business Advisory Council adopted what we call the ASEAN Mentorship Entrepreneurship Network, which will be launched in November, which will be the largest mentorship pool. In the Philippines, we have 450 mentors, and hopefully in the different Asian countries, 100. So a pool of 2,000 mentors being shared by each country, helping, mentoring many of our micro, small, and even medium enterprises. And many in the chambers here are already involved as mentors. The next N is money. Without money, mentorship does not progress. We really have to get our banks to start lending. Our banks have to lend to our micro and small entrepreneurs. I understand the large banks have a hard time because they don't have the conduit to be able to lend. But maybe there is a way. Similar to what BDO has done, buying one network bank, and many other banks should buy a structure to be able to focus on helping our micro entrepreneurs. Our MFIs are around. They are the conduits to many of these entrepreneurs. We want to learn from other countries on how they do it. The Indians, people criticize them. I think it's fine. To me, risk goes with higher interest rates. But the biggest challenge of many entrepreneurs is, especially at the lower level, is collateral. They can't even borrow and even pay at higher rates because they don't have enough collateral. And so we have to do program lendings and take the risk. And maybe get Bangko Sentral, the governor, I talked to him, and let's not break the banks, the big banks. Let's exclude maybe the micro lending against their report card of performance. Things like that, ideas like that. So in the money part, government is doing their part by through shared service facilities, set up all these various programs, but we need more of that. Even to the extent of, hopefully through the council's effort, convincing government that conditional cash transfer is not the way. It is a short-term solution. It is not a poverty solution. It is a poverty solution if you, as long as you give them the check. The moment you stop giving the check, they will return back. So we have to focus on lending to people who help themselves. Teach them on how to fish. That is the objective. So the money part, I'm getting the governor, the BSP, and all the different groups involved in money to come together and think of ideas on how we can increase lending. I am myself is an entrepreneur. Imagine me borrowing money from a bank. They're asking me for my collateral, a JSS, and I tell them, you know, I own RFM, and still they don't respect that. So imagine a small entrepreneur out there trying to borrow money. Collateral is the issue, not interest rates. And the next is market. Market is the biggest thing that many of our micro entrepreneurs cannot scale up. We, in this room, we are part of the brick and mortar business. We control supermarkets, manufacturing, etc., etc. For somebody to develop a brand and launch it in the supermarket, from all the fees that you have to pay, from all the advertising that you have to spend, the challenge really in creating a brand from nowhere is difficult and expensive. So what is the solution? The only solution I can think of is large businesses have to embrace many of these entrepreneurs as part of our ecosystem, our value chain, our suppliers, retailers. Many of the sari-sari stores, they are being helped by Coca-Cola, by many of the companies who use sari-sari stores, even us, as a conduit to selling. And sari-sari stores, for as long as there's poverty in this country, sari-sari stores are here to stay. But we have to gear them up beyond survival to sustainable, and hopefully some of them can grow and put up their own groceries. So these are the 3 M's. So the platform today, 99% of our entire ecosystem is still brick and mortar. But to me, the biggest changer for many of our micro and small enterprises is e-commerce. Why? What happened with Uber? When Uber started and Grab started in the Philippines, we created so many new entrepreneurs. In fact, I had dinner with the Hyundai owners, and they were telling me one of their brands are doing so well. And apparently, it's doing well because many of the drivers prefer that model because it saves on gas and it's cheaper. So overnight, Uber and Grab has created a marketplace for entrepreneurs. Lazada, Amazon, and all of this are creating marketplaces. Our big telecom companies are taking the lead in a payment system, fintech and all of that. We really need, and the future to me is e-commerce. Yes, it will take a long time. Maybe, hopefully not extremely long. Because to me, this is the game changer, because an entrepreneur, when he sells in a marketplace like Amazon, and Lazada, and I don't know how many of you have changed your shopping habits. I basically have a shopper now on Amazon. I hardly go, you know, to the different malls. I mean, when in the States you use Amazon, here my kids use Lazada. So things are changing. And why? When you press for an item and it comes out the lowest price and the highest rating, you tend to buy that. You even ignore the merchant who is selling it to you. So that is a game changer. So it gives the entrepreneur, you know, the burden of advertising his product. He doesn't need to spend. He doesn't need to spend for listing fees. And of course, logistics is the next challenge. But with all private sector investing in logistics, from Denisoy, Chelsea, MVP, and so many others out there, including the Aranendos of LBC, it will move. The payment system hopefully can move faster. And most of all, government. I've always told them, let us not regulate something that we do not understand. E-commerce is something so new and too early to regulate. Let's allow e-commerce to prosper, because in the end, it benefits these small entrepreneurs who will not go to our system. They can go straight to the consumer. And that, to me, is the game changer. Yes, maybe it will take time, because basically, our country is still a brick-and-mortar business. But let us not destroy a potential ecosystem that will benefit these people. And let us enhance it. And that is one of, hopefully, the programs that the Prosperity Council will move forward to. On connectivity, infrastructure development, I talked to the secretaries together with the large conglomerates. We had a very good meeting last week in fact. Edshua and Marife were with me, and interesting enough, our secretaries are open to new ideas. One, entrepreneurs thrive and have the motivation. Government is there for 6 years, and you have another change. So the objective is build, build, build is great, but it cannot be just government alone. Private sector has to partner with government. You cannot have a half-baked solution. When you bid out an airport, you cannot just bid out the construction and bid the management separately. There will always be a problem. The best model to me is Cebu. You talk to the new owners of Megawide, Edgar, their vision for Cebu is amazing. They want to beat Manila. They want to make Cebu the hub of the Philippines. The real airport, and not our airport here. Great vision. Whether it will be done, who cares? But if that's the motivation of that entrepreneur, that you can never find in somebody running a government. Because he's not there, he's not paid well. And maybe the secretaries have the passion because they're up, but not the people below. It is different when you have private sector really driving. We have the vision, we have the passion, and we have our money at stake. And I'm glad that the secretaries are open to the idea of bringing back a modified PPP that will really get 100 entrepreneurs with track record to join government in the Build, Build, Build program. Not a piecemeal basis. Somebody who can see an end-to-end solution. Whereby service is really important. Okay, great. To the Pad Airport, who's going to manage it? You can't expect our government employees because their wages are just too low. Those have to be corrected. And maybe one day we will be a Singapore, a Malaysia, and whereby, you know, these government employees will be paid better, we can hire better people, treat them like the private sector, and yes, that will be the time, but not yet now. And that is my basic message to them, that to hasten the process of infrastructure development is important because it benefits many of our micro and small entrepreneurs out there. These people employ the most number of people. If you increase their growth, they can hire more people. And we give them the chance to move up to middle class, which in the end benefits all of us in this room. And to me, that is real inclusive growth. Every business in this room becomes an inclusive business. that is the way forward towards creating prosperity for everyone. Thank you.